Do you feel like self-sabotage is impacting you, but you're not so sure if it really is? We're going to talk about it today because we're talking about 5 subtle ways that self-sabotage creeps into your life and impacts you. I know that this is important because it is the small things that really impact us on a larger scale and in big ways. And self-sabotage usually comes down to certain behaviors that we have, certain things that we're doing that we don't realize how much of an impact it is having on us, especially when we go into these revolving circles and can't seem to get out of this cycle that we can be in and be able to expand beyond the cycle to get new results. My name is Crystal Turner. I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner who is going holistic because I do know to be whole is to be healed. And so 5 ways that self-sabotage creeps into your life. The first one would be overthinking. The overthinking that we do can be a way of self-sabotage. When I think about overthinking, I think of that as being self-doubt, doubt in ourselves, and we can overthink even the decisions that we make. I do think that when we overthink, one of the things when we are in a place where we may not be healed as much as we don't trust ourselves as much. So even the thoughts that we have, the decisions that we want to make, we can overthink the things. We can think about, what if things go wrong? What if things don't turn out how I would like? We could think about the worst case scenarios coming. We could also think about what are other people going to think when you are doing this overthinking. There's so many things that can play into overthinking, but I do think what other people are going to think is, very far up front in terms of a big part of the overthinking that we do that causes us to not act. When we overthink, we tend to not act. I think of it as a way of being frozen a bit, because there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of anxiety. And that also is what overthinking can look like, anxiety, the overthinking of things. So much so that we never make a decision and time goes past. And in a lot of situations, opportunities go past. And I know I did this for a very long time when something that was important to me at that time, which was continuing my education. I wanted to get higher education as an advanced practice nurse. I remember that's something I wanted to do. And it already seemed intimidating to me, but I would always think about all these other things that I had to do or all these things of what could happen. It could be too hard. It's not the right time. And what I recognized in the end that I had to do is just take one step. And that one step was making a phone call to the school's program that I was interested in. And when I took that step, I really did feel like life met me halfway and helped me in the next step and then in the next step. So I really had to look at that as one step at a time, just right in front of me. What's the next thing I do just right in front of me? Instead of thinking about the entire big picture, which can really make you feel stuck and really get you into overthinking. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, ghosting opportunities that are there that you've wanted for so long. And when they show up, you ghost those opportunities. You avoid the opportunities. So when I think about ghosting opportunities, I really do think of avoidance in this sense. Because we can want something so bad and when it's further away, we really can feel the desire for it. But as it gets closer, there can be the anxiety of this thing is actually happening. And now the concrete or the very real next steps or things that you would think about in terms of doing the thing that's finally there really gets cemented right in front of you. And it can be, am I able to do this? Am I capable of doing this? What ifs? What if things don't go the way I want? So even the things that you want so bad, we can look at that as ghosting it. And that could be doing things that distract you from it. Saying that you have too many things to do right now. Having all these other responsibilities when the thing that you really want is right there, but we don't take action because really there's a lot of anxiety that comes up when we're self-sabotaging. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of unknowns that can feel scary. But this ghosting our opportunities, I think one of the things that I really think of that has helped me is that there's not a guarantee that there's going to be another opportunity. So, let's get into this space, do the best you can in terms of preparing for that thing so that you feel more comfortable, more confident, and to try to do the thing. I don't think that there's a real easy way. I think that oftentimes when something feels so scary and we want to run from it, oftentimes when we really face and go through the thing, oftentimes on the other side of that, we think, that like that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And that's what I try to keep in mind when it comes to these things that I want so bad being so close to me, to really think about how I'm going to feel on the other side of that. And when I think about past experiences, how I felt on the other side hasn't been some form of regret. It's really been, oh, that wasn't so bad. And usually it's something about it that made me glad that I did it. So that's something to keep in mind. Number 3 is downplaying your gifts to make others comfortable. Downplaying your talents, downplaying yourself, everything about yourself, so that other people feel comfortable. I remember when I had gotten engaged to get married. I'm not married now, but this was 20 years ago. I had gotten engaged to get married. And the friends that I had around me at that time, I felt uncomfortable because none of them were engaged, none of them were married. And I just what it was is I really didn't have a circle of people around me who were that supportive. And, that subconsciously, but you can do all kind of things to ignore that just to have the companionship of people. And I remember when I got married, that's the time where you should be calling with your girlfriend, screaming like, "Yes, I'm married, I'm engaged," or not married, I'm engaged, and yelling, and everyone's jumping up and down like you see in the movies, right? That's not how my experience was. I felt like there wouldn't be people who would really celebrate me. And so I actually played down my engagement at that time. And it was deep down, I knew it was an indication of these may not be my people. Now I absolutely know that they weren't. But we can have ourselves in spaces where, these people, it's more about you and you being in a space to celebrate yourself. But if you have yourself surrounded by people who you feel for some reason you can't be celebrated with them and you have to downplay yourself, there's either a conversation you need to have with them where you can clearly see after that, oh, these people really are supportive of me, or you're going to find out that are these the people I really want to have in my circle. And if they're not willing to celebrate you, it shouldn't be. But what this does is it sabotages you because you never can just be in that greatness and continue to elevate. You stuff yourself down in many different ways so that other people can feel comfortable. And then you're not being yourself. You're not elevated to your best. You're not having your best experiences because of other people sometimes hating on you, and sometimes you're just not feeling comfortable to trust the relationship to recognize that actually these people would be happy to celebrate you. So it could be either side of the coin that it's important for us to look at. But when we don't celebrate ourselves and we downplay ourselves to make other people comfortable, we are rejecting ourselves in that way. And that can never end up good if we're going to reject ourselves for anyone else. And I do mean anyone else. If we're going to reject ourselves, there's some questioning we have to do, either about our fears or about the nature of those relationships, so that we can be in spaces that really are healthy, and that we expand because of those relationships. Well, we expand because of who we are, but we have people around us who support the expansion, and there's nothing holding you back. Number 4 is staying in the planning mode forever and ever. Planning. Man, I know this really well. You could take all the classes, you can keep taking more classes, you could keep doing more programs, you can keep getting more certifications, you can keep getting the things that are supposed to somehow make you feel like you're ready. But sometimes we're not ready. There's something else. Oh, maybe that's a cat. There's sometimes where we're not ready because of fear. And so rather than trying to plan all these things, it's really, allowing yourself to do things even though there's fear there, allowing yourself to move even with fear. I think it's the best way for us to overcome fear. Because some things are just not, the fear will be there because some things are unknown, some things are just uncomfortable, and you're not going to get comfortable until you start doing it more. I remember, and I was working when the pandemic first happened. Where I work, the team I worked with, we started this mobile van, and I never drove this big old van. I never drove anything like it, and so I had a thing with driving in certain unfamiliar ways, unfamiliar places, and in this unfamiliar big vehicle made me nervous. And so I remember being so afraid and just, anxious in my mornings because I would have to know that I would have to get on this van when we first started it. And the only thing that made me comfortable with the van is doing it. There was no preparation that could make me comfortable. But as I continued to do this, several times a month, before I knew it, I actually liked the van. I got very comfortable with the van, and it was nothing. And I remember to apply that to anything in life. Something that you're not familiar with at first can seem scary, and we could think that we're preparing with all of this extra planning, but we could really be avoiding just getting started. But when we get started and do the thing and keep doing it, you may find that you just get so good at it that you can't imagine not doing it and be surprised that, laugh at how scared you were once upon a time. But I think that there's no real way to get over feeling prepared besides, doing the basis of understanding how to be prepared, but then actually doing it and applying the thing. There's no way around that. I don't see a way around that. Let me know if you see a way around that. I don't see a way around that. I think it's going through the actual thing that unfolds you more to your development of really feeling ready. And then finally is helping everyone else while your own dreams are put on hold. Now, I know that many of us moms, by the way, I'm recording this and it's Mother's Day weekend, so happy Mother's Day to the moms. But I think a lot of moms, we can do this in that way, which I think I understand. As a mom, you can put certain things on hold to help your children, to help your family, but we do this oftentimes even as moms to such a degree that you really do let your dreams and the things that were really important to you fade away. And even outside of moms, we can do this in other areas of life. If it's helping someone, a friend, a family member, someone in some other type of way, we make our life about that helps so much that we can lose sight of who it is that we even are and what it is that we really wanted in the first place. And we can lose sight of that, and that can really deter us and make us feel lost and not have purpose. So I think that these are 5 things that we can really pay attention to, how we be mindful of, are these things creeping up in your life? Are you noticing having any of these patterns? Because when we do notice and have awareness, then that's when we can, we can change our behavior. We can recognize the thing and then change the behavior. And remember ourselves in the midst of it. Remember our desires in the midst of it. So if any of these resonate with you, I want you to put it in the comment section. Which of these 5 ways of self-sabotage do you think may be something that you've done more often than not, or that you struggle with? Let me know in the comment section. Also, like this video and subscribe to this channel so that I can continue to grow my channel and support the evolution of all of us in terms of our mental wealth, mental health, mental wellness, and our overall well-being. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.